Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at the National Association of Career Colleges Ontario, all coming together, sharing ideas, sharing best practices. The people in that room are making a difference. They are educating people that go to the workforce right away in vital parts of our community, building our community, making this country stronger. Good people in that room, and you're one of them. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure, I'm Krista Livingstone Clark from BC, Canada, West Coast. We're out here on the East Coast and I'm loving it. So I'm the CEO of Discovery Community College, and I have to tell you, we've just wrapped up this conference and it has been fantastic. So a couple of things I just want to share, and then I can tell you more about what we do in BC, but I have found such great value in this collaboration at this event. One of the best things, you were just talking about all the fantastic outcomes of our students who are driving the economy and the labor force forward. Someone coined the phrase over the last few days, ordinary heroes. And that means so much, because when we think about, especially during the pandemic when there was such supply chain issues, that truck driver that gets our goods to the store so we can purchase them for our home is an ordinary hero. And many of the schools here supply truck drivers. They're so essential. Now, I don't do truck driving, mostly healthcare at Discovery Community College, but the same sort of thing where that person who steps up to take care of our loved ones, our seniors, whether they're in long-term care or in the hospital or in the community, or someone who's homeless, you know, everybody deserves the support they need. And we're so lucky to live in Canada where we care about that, and we have a whole job creation system around that, and we have amazing people that are stepping up every day to fill those needs. So I'm just so pumped to be a part of that, and that there's so many awesome people here at the conference that are equally pumped, and that we're supplying these ordinary heroes every day, making Canada great.
What a wonderful and a beautiful way to sort of summarize this event that happened over the last 3 days. Such sharing, such willingness to see everybody thrive. You don't often see that in many sectors. It happens here, and it was a wonderful thing to play out. I want to take you back to Discovery for a second, and you know, I've had the pleasure of going to your campuses. I've had the pleasure of talking to your instructors, to your students, to the communities that you impact. You have a beautiful way of wrapping your arms around people and making them feel welcome, and ensuring they get the right education, and ensuring they get to work that changes their lives, their families' lives, and supports the community. What is it about this college at Discovery is that has this mindset to wrap around and help people? Talk to me about that.
Well, it's so true. We spoke about this when you came to visit us, and I can't help but mention Lois McNestry again, right? She was the foundation of it. And I have to, when I think back about it, I've thought a lot about this conversation since we last met, where really she's a psych nurse from back in the 70s, and she worked at an institution and trained at an institution called Riverview. And as Riverview disbanded, she became a community health nurse, and she was very community focused. And so her nursing practice involved employers, different agencies that would support her clients, and it was a collaborative process. And so as she started to shape Discovery later down the road, that just was embedded in our foundations, and we continue that across the board today. Everybody in our organization plays a part in relationships externally of us that will benefit our students, benefit our team, and it takes a community to raise a graduate, to raise that ordinary hero. And it's a fantastic process.
One thing that struck me at Discovery, and it's no different than all these other community colleges, you're putting people in front of those students who come with a lot of experience.
Yes.
They've lived these professions, these vocations. Talk to me about the importance of that, getting the right people in front of the students.
Yeah, the mentors, the instructors, really they're professional mentors that are able to pass on all their years of trades and skills and knowledge that they've experienced in the workforce, and they're in a very direct way passing that on to the students. So finding the right person is really important. It's important to be involved in the sectors that you're training so that you can be looking for those next great instructors. Mm-hmm. Often our instructors are a big part of attracting new instructors. So for example, when we're out in a hospital setting, if one of our instructors sees a nurse that's particularly taking an interest in the students, she'll reach out and say, hey, have you ever thought about taking this mentorship to the next level? So it's definitely a collaborative team thing at Discovery, and we've been very fortunate. We have a talented team, and that team changes and shapes because people, especially in healthcare, it's important that our instructors never leave the sector entirely. So they might come teach for a few years and then go back and work for a few years, or we have instructors that teach and work. So, it's very fluid. Mm-hmm. We're always looking for recent experience to be passing on to our students.
I want to pick up on that word fluid, because healthcare, things in every province, British Columbia, no different. Fluid is the best way to describe. Things are changing all the time.
That's right.
Skill sets are different. They're needed in different areas at different times. Yet you're able to adapt your programming to meet the needs with such speed and agility and accuracy. How do you do that?
It's the team. It takes the team. We're strategic. I mean, there's planning involved. We've been adapting I've been in the sector for 22 years. So we've learned to adapt. Every cycle, labor market demands change and or the field changes. For example, in healthcare, there's been a lot of change to scope of practice. It used to be back in the day, my grandmother was a director of care back in the 70s. So her, what is a PSW or an HCA today used to be something that they could hire anybody and train on the ground. Now you require those credentials. So that sort of thing is happening all the time, this evolution of skill development and credentialing in healthcare and many other industries. And Discovery and many of our schools here are just able to adapt because we've been doing it all along. As a change is coming up, we love to be a part of those changes. So we're preparing for the changes, we're anticipating the change, and then we work hard with our teams to pivot, and we're very fortunate that we can do that.
Krista, you and your team are making a big difference. There's no doubt about that. I go back to, I've had the privilege of talking to some of the people that have come through your programs, and emotional stuff. You're transforming lives. Thank you for your leadership in this, and we really appreciate you being in the conversation.
Thank you for having me.